Hi TIs, this is Renata. Someone recently asked me a question on how a targeted individual should deal with people who they believe to be perpetrators who are obviously in on their targeting, but they want to hold conversation with them, or they want to speak to them, say hello, or they want to hang out. How should a TI handle that? Should they feel like they should speak? Should they feel like they should engage in conversation out of being polite? Should they hang out with the person? It sounds simple, but it's really kind of a complex thing, because most people are raised to be kind and raised to be polite and raised to say pleasantries, good morning, how are you doing, how was your weekend, and those kind of things. So it can be really awkward for some people not to speak. So my answer to that question is, first and foremost, you need to be 100% sure that the person you suspect is in on your targeting is actually a perpetrator. Because you don't want to cut people out of your life who are good people. And this program is designed to make you feel that everybody is in on your targeting, and this program has taught most people not to trust anyone. But I can tell you with 100% certainty that not every single person in this world, and that's 100% certainty, not every single person is in on your targeting. And I know that it feels that way, because that's the way it's designed to make you feel. So you really need to be sure that the people you suspect to be in on your targeting are really in on your targeting. And I don't think that there's any one way that you can determine that, because everybody's targeting is different. And even if a person does a tactic or wears a color that your perpetrators wear, or says or does things that your perpetrators do or say, it could be a coincidence. Not everyone is in on the targeting, and I believe that coincidences do happen. So you have to determine for yourself if the person is in on your targeting, and you can do that by observing, by analyzing, by taking notes if you need to, even mental notes, just kind of checking things out before you jump to the conclusion. Don't be so quick to cut people out of your life, because we need people. We need human interaction. And these people would love nothing more than for you to get rid of everyone around you. And we need a support system. We need good fun, good conversation. So I would say, first and foremost, just be sure that a person really is in on your targeting before you cut them out. A lot of the tactics that the perpetrators do is covert. So it's kind of hard to tell sometimes, but they do very overt things too. So you have to decide for yourself. I don't think that's a one size fits all for every targeting situation. I think that's sort of an individualized thing to decide whether or not people are involved. Once you have made that determination and you are 100% sure, if a person is harassing you, if they're doing stalking tactics on you, if they're intentionally doing things to annoy you constantly, if they are, I think I already said, if they're stalking you, if they are assaulting you with directed energy weapons, if they are doing anything to psychologically abuse you, if they're trying to gaslight you, any of those things, I believe you should distance yourself from that person. And I personally don't believe that you ever have to feel obligated to speak to a person, to hold a conversation with the person, to hang out with the person, or to deal with them in any kind of manner other than business. And of course, if you work with someone who is in on your harassment, because there is workplace harassment as well, that's a different thing. And I do believe that there are exceptions to every rule. So if you're in a work environment, you have to be polite, you have to be professional, because you are hired to do a job. But that does not mean that you have to be abused, and I'll do another video on that. But you don't have to be abused in the workplace either. There are measures that you can take to report any kind of workplace harassment that's happening at work. But at work, you know, that would be one of those places where you would probably have to exercise a little bit of cordiality. Is that a word? You may have to be cordial in the workplace, because that's a professional environment and you're getting paid to do a job. Okay, so like I said, I'll do another video on that. But if you know for sure that someone is in on your harassment, then I really do think that it is in your best interest to distance yourself from that person. But I do understand that that is easier said than done sometimes. Now, it's one thing if it's just a casual acquaintance or a casual neighbor, or perhaps someone that you may not even really know, but they speak to you every morning. That's one thing. You can speak or you don't have to speak, but you can still give a friendly smile if you choose to do that. Or you don't have to even do that. If you are sure that that person is harassing you, I see no need. But some people do, because they feel funny if they don't acknowledge a person's presence. I personally do not feel the least bit strange if I don't acknowledge a person, because if they're in on my harassment, then I don't see why that should bother me, because it doesn't. But for some people it does, and that's understandable too. So you handle it the way you want. But I think that if a person really is truly in on your harassment, they're trying to psychologically abuse you, then you don't need to feel bad about it at all. It does not make you a bad person because you don't speak. They're the bad person because they're in on your harassment. So it's not you, it's them. So I don't think you should feel obligated at all. Now again, that could be easier said than done depending on the situation, because maybe the person that is in on the harassment is a family member or a longtime friend who you just can't imagine would turn on you. It could be a child, because children, teenagers, young adults, they become involved in harassment as well. It can be an elderly person. I've heard people say their grandparents, both grandparents, were involved in their targeting. So these would be tricky situations to just cut these people off. What if the person takes care of you financially and you feel stuck in that situation because you have no options but to stay in a certain situation because perhaps you need their financial assistance or you can't take care of yourself? That's a hard thing. So in a case like that, then I'd say, then you just be pleasant. You be cordial. You keep your distance. You keep your eyes open. But don't become paranoid. I'm not saying that at all. But you just keep an eye on the situation and you be cordial, because if you have to coexist with someone and you have no other options, then that's what it is. But I would say try your best to get yourself in a better situation so that you don't have to deal with that. In the case of a casual person, a neighbor, someone you see in passing, someone you see at the store, because these perpetrators try to do this directed conversation all the time. They try to engage you in conversation. If you feel like you are the type of person that feels obligated to speak to people, or it'll make you feel like you're being rude, then wear headphones. Do all kind of ignoring tactics. If it's someone that you decided to cut off and they ask you what's wrong, but you have it determined in your mind that you don't want to deal with that person, then just tell them that, you're focused, you have a lot of things on your mind, and it's not personal, you're just focused. Whatever whatever gets you through it, whatever makes you feel comfortable. But again, me personally, I would not feel obligated to say anything. But some people do, and that's understandable because you were raised that way. You're very nice. But some situations are not the time to be nice, because these people are evil. And I'm talking about the people who are definitely in on the targeting, because not all people are evil. But the ones who are 100% in on the targeting, these people are evil. They have ulterior motives. They're there to carry out the harassment campaign, the psychological torture on you. So they mean you no good. They are trying to aid in your destruction. So why would you help them? It's best to distance yourself from people like that, because they're there to set you up in some kind of way. They're there to handle you. That's what a handler is. They're there to handle you. So don't feel obligated. I truly believe that we teach people how to treat us based on what we accept and based on what we tolerate. So don't tolerate it. Don't put up with it. It doesn't mean you have to be confrontational, because I don't believe that. I don't believe in the whole confrontational thing. I'm sure it has happened with everybody, but that's not something that you want to do on a regular basis. So you don't have to be confrontational. You don't have to go into an in-depth explanation. It just is what it is. You have to take care of you, because you're being harassed all day long, every day. Most targets are. I guess there are times where you get a little break in there, but for the most part, their goal is to harass you 24/7. So it's up to you to do what you have to do to take care of yourself. There are people who are used to having a lot of people around them, and so it's not comfortable to deal with the isolation piece of this. But for myself, I would rather deal with that than to be surrounded by people who I know are not right. Not the definition of a friend. Not the definition of an acquaintance that I would even want to be dealing with. You can put yourself in situations where you can still be cordial with people, and where you can still be friendly with people, and where you can still help people. If you're that type of person who likes to help people, you can put yourself in volunteer situations. I just did a video where I showed a kite festival that I was at. That was very satisfying for me, because there were a lot of people there, a lot of families. We were flying kites. It was fun. You can put yourself in fun environments. You can walk around places like that and just say hello to people and good morning, but you're in control of that. You don't have other people controlling you. You're in control of who you're speaking with, who you're engaging with, and it's very unfortunate that we have to do things this way. But that's the way it is for most targets. Now, I will say that there are quite a few targets that still have their same friends that they had before they were targeted. They're still in very good communication, good standing with their family members. So it's not all bad. It's not all bad. If you are blessed to still have people in your life, then thank God for that, and surround yourself around those people who care about you and who you care about. Because many targets have lost friends and family because of this targeting. So I would say if you still have people in your life, then really show gratitude and be grateful for that. And don't overwhelm them with the targeting conversation. Just be who you were before you were targeted around those people, so that you don't push them away. Because it is possible that not everyone will become involved. It's definitely possible. So, to answer the question that the person posed to me, how do you deal with this situation when people want to talk with you? As I said, we teach people how to treat us. So if you feel that they are truly involved, then I see no reason why you need to deal with them. But that is something that you have to decide for yourself. And I hope that that my answer made sense to someone. I hope that it helped someone. If you have a question that you think I can help you answer, please email me, remu2@hotmail.com, and put question in the subject line, or put your question in the comment box. Okay, thank you, and stay strong, TIs.